I hope that everybody is having a fantastic afternoon. This is Atmospheric Alex here with another tropical weather outlook and discussion. Now, I know I've been talking about this a lot lately, but I'm just kind of been monitoring model trends lately on our activity right now. We have tons of disturbances here. Disturbance 1, disturbance 2, disturbance 3, 4, 5, may even see a sixth one. So it has been very active lately in terms of the number of areas that might be spinning out there. But that doesn't correlate to high levels of activity. And today I'll discuss why that is. But before I do get started, I wanted to quickly apologize for not uploading lately. I'm back in college now, and we're getting quite a big workload already. So, if anything urgent is going on, I will be right back here. Don't you worry about that. I'll find time. But there hasn't been anything urgent lately, so I wasn't needed. Alright, just had to fix every single screen because I forgot to format it. That was horrible, but we're going to take a look at the National Hurricane Center's 7-day tropical weather outlook now. And you can see they don't have as many disturbances as I do because I did make the thumbnail last night. But there are still some areas to watch. We have 4 of them. Our first one being Invest 90L here in the Gulf of Mexico. I honestly think this has a shot at formation. I really do. Okay, I'm going to be completely honest with that. Maybe not the specific disturbance, the one to the south of it that's going to merge with it. That, in my opinion, would have a higher chance, or not. It's a little confusing, as you can tell. But the one down here has a 20% chance. I have another disturbance up here, Invest 99L. This could just become subtropical slop. I'm not really expecting much here as it tracks into cooler waters and gets attached to some fronts. Now we just have some Atlantic slop served on a plate right now in the central Atlantic. This is going to do absolutely nothing either. But like I said, we do have another wave here in Africa that's going to be moving off over the next few days and could end up developing. We'll just have to wait and see, but it does have quite a strong signal to it. Or it did have quite a strong signal. It's downtrended a little lately, as everything has this season. Now we're going to take a look at our HWRF model for Invest 90L. As you can see, it is located right here off of the Texas coastline here. And I would like to note here, very, very weak, really disorganized. Its convection. It doesn't really make much sense right now. You have absolutely nothing near the center, so this system is going to struggle forming over the next few days. Once it's able to get its feet in the water here, you can see this thing trying to organize and deepen a little, talking about potentially a tropical storm by Saturday. Please, please, please do not take this as granted here. At this time of year, with this type of season we've had, nobody has a clue what any of these are going to do. What we're going to lean towards, though, is the side of it kind of dying out. This could briefly become a tropical depression, like I said, maybe a storm, but do not bank money on it. This season is unpredictable and will remain that way. And the storm here continues in our little circle we made here for it, 995 millibars. So, hey, I mean, there is a chance, not very high, there is a chance this briefly becomes tropical storm something, maybe Francine, maybe some other name, something might steal it. Before then, we'll see. But potential Francine developing in the Gulf of Mexico here, we'll just have to see. It'd be very weak. And then it does begin to die out here as we go through time. Then it tries to redevelop again, down 1,002, die out again, redevelop again. I want this season to be over already. I really do. We just can't track anything with these crazy models here. But main threats I'd be concerned about is flooding along the coastline here, anywhere from Texas, Louisiana. If this thing does track a little further north, you need to watch out for water spouts and tornadoes as well. Potentially potentially a decent tornado event. We will be keeping our eyes glued onto the system. Well, now, whoop-de-doo, let's take a look at our ocean heat content values, and it just really doesn't get much better. Oh, gosh, values over 175 throughout almost the entire Western Caribbean, and as we zoom in further, we see, wow, that is a lot of ocean heat content for no storms to use because nothing can form. Same for the Gulf up here. So that's the good news that no storms are using it now, but it means that at some point, either next season, the season after, whenever, something's going to form, and oh boy, yeah. Basically, we're just delaying the inevitable. That's kind of what's going on here. I really hate to say those words, but we are talking about ocean heat content values, probably upwards of about 250 at this point in the Western Caribbean. Again, these values have never been reached in recorded history. These are completely historic right now. I guess your sea surface temperatures are as well. Take a look at this. Still talking about upper 80s here. Gosh, in the main development region. And even in the Gulf, you have some upper 80s as well in there as well, even for the Western Caribbean, and continued anomalous heat across the majority of the Atlantic here, especially in these areas. And where does heat go? It goes up. Goes up into the troposphere, the stratosphere, or in between those two layers in the tropopause. And let me just tell you, it has been very warm up there lately, and storms have been getting suppressed from formation, mainly due to the fact that you don't have hot air at the surface and cooler air aloft, but rather hot air at the surface and warm air aloft. We talked about this last week with our crazy diagram and our weather simulator there. It's also important to note that the tropopause is still warming, even though it should really start cooling soon. No signs of that yet. Alright, so we have all this hot water. Nothing's forming. But is that the only reason nothing's forming? No. We have also wind shear. Wow, wind shear galore. Everywhere you look, wind shear. And tropical systems do not like wind shear. They will get ripped apart. Their center will get displaced. And so that is what we are seeing here. And according to the European model, which is, I would say, the most accurate model in this case, this does continue. You have your small little windows of development down here as your wind shear becomes more outflow dominant here, but still really ripping apart that system and preventing it from forming. Same deal for your tropical wave back here. It could develop into a depression. We'll discuss this in a minute. You could see, though, over the next few days, really the next 10 days, look at your wind shear beginning to increase across this area. Still a good pocket here. Very big pocket in the Gulf as well. Conditions in the Atlantic, guess what? Do remain unfavorable. Geez, it's peak hurricane season. Come on, what's happening? Well, I'll give you another little answer here shortly. But I want to take a look at something that is extremely abnormal that, some people have been mentioning. Here we are backing into our GFS model, and we are taking a look at a brand new product, the 650 millibar winds, basically your tropical wave identifier here. And, this product here is quite important. It'll basically show you where tropical waves are. You can see we have a wave here, and we have an elongated wave right up here. And so this wave is going to, of course, move out into the MDR, followed by this one behind it. So let's just kind of go through time here. What is happening? Nope, this goes into the Saharan Desert and brings flooding rains instead. Okay. See, this is why this season has been so complicated, because of your really warm water temperatures and your warm tropopause, you're getting tropical waves that are flying into the Saharan Desert. It's just not a normal season, is it? There's been charts I've been looking at that have just been totally different than any other year. I'm really hoping that next year or even the year after, we can return to normalcy here. I really don't want to see what other effects this could have, what other domino effects this might have. So please, if we could return to normalcy, I would really greatly appreciate it, because not really wanting to stick around for anything serious here. And we're talking about this tropical wave we saw down here pushing off of Africa. This is the one we need to watch closely. Okay, this is what I would say the most favorable wave of the past month, I would say, easily. So, heading into a bit more favorable conditions, see the GFS really does ramp up in development here on this wave as it heads out into the main as it heads out to the main development region, followed by another wave behind it, and then we have this huge belt of kind of disorganized wave activity here. Your MCS, your mesoscale convective systems pushing through Africa, bringing severe weather to some areas there. And this wave back here I'd like to watch very closely. We do, it appears, have a bit of a high pressure up here. It begins to steer these waves a lot further south here. And this is what we're watching, for the intertropical convergence zone to shift further south and these waves to shift further south. Further south they are, the less likely it'll get tugged up north, and this is something we have been struggling to see all season here. Okay, what about your dry air then, Let's take a look at all your cold fronts that have been passing through Europe here and have been advancing southwards into your main development region. We have dry air subsidence absolutely everywhere. This is getting ridiculous at this point. So with all this dry air, you are not going to see any tropical waves forming. That is a big no-no. You will not be seeing that happening right now, or even in the near future, as you're about to see. From the European models, we take it out. You see some convergence trying to form here along your ITCZ, your other wave here. Just look at your dry air presence that is just sticking around. So it's kind of a little bit unknown to see just how much more of this we're going to see. We're going to see our frontal systems continue. You do see a ridiculously strong anticyclone high pressure steering all of your dry air into the MDR and even into the northern Caribbean here as well. This dry air is quite pungent as well, and we'll see if this lets up. The second it does a little bit, you can see something trying to form. We'll have to wait and see as that continues to move off further to the west and maybe further to the north as well. All right. And let's look at our Hypecast model provided by your EPS, your European Prediction System. I have learned to kind of stop trusting this model a bit through the season. That's because its outputs are way too bullish here. Let's just take a look at this. What is happening in the Gulf? My gosh. Could, like I said, see a tropical system form out of that slop over there. We'll just have to see over the next few days. See your tropical waves coming off of Africa. This one in particular, that is the one I had in my thumbnail. That was like this big blob of convection that's just going to scream off of Africa here and could form. You could see EPS really thinks so, I guess. Look at all of these major hurricane members in here. Have we not learned our lesson? I mean, come on. This is just flat out ridiculous. This is actually stupid at this point to be seeing this in a season where it's just not favorable anymore. I don't know. I have a lot of questions right now and not a lot of answers for you all. Other than, honestly, I probably will stay out to sea or just won't form at all. That's a better outcome as well. Let's take a look at your GEFS model and you could see, come on, really? Look how far south that is. And maybe we could see some development down there, but don't want to jump the gun yet. Yeah, alright, let's just see Category 4, Category 5. Alright, fine. Bermuda, you need to watch out. You could be seeing a major hurricane. Oh, ha ha ha. Yeah, no, you're not. Just stop worrying about that. We're not expecting much to develop out of this. I just... Too much dry air in the atmosphere. Your wind shear's ramping back up. I really don't see much of a window for this thing to form at this point. Unlike yesterday, where it was the total opposite. Yeah, believe me. Just like every other weather enthusiast out there, I'm really angry at the models right now. We can't forecast anything, and it's ruining everyone's reputation, including the professionals as well. This is just the type of season, I guess, that's throwing everyone off. But here we are taking a look at our upper level moisture here from our climate models and from our other models across the board, our ensembles. We're taking a look at the CFS weeklies here, and this seems like a bit of an outlier. It really wasn't before, but models have downtrended on this. Shows a big plume of rising air entering the Atlantic, causing systems galore to form out of this everywhere you could think of here. But at this point, I kind of doubt this. I don't know. I think we'll see maybe a brief window of opportunity, but it won't be this large of a size. And I also don't see your West Pacific getting shut down anytime soon. The signal continues through early October, but quickly begins to diminish as we see a big plume of sinking air and subsidence going back over the Atlantic again. And the West Pacific going all bonkers out there yet again, as if it hasn't about 5 times already this season. What about our CFS monthlies? Where did our rising air go? It's not there anymore, is it? Well, let's look at another model. Maybe it'll come back, right? Maybe we'll see our, upper level moist air make a return and finally kick the season into high gear, right? We're gonna see. Where is it? It's all just sinking air, isn't it? It's not a lot, so you could see something form, but we're not talking about really active conditions anytime soon. Yeah, the GEFS shows a little bit more, whites here rather than your browns, and we'll even take that a bit further out in time, but we're at this point kicking the can down the road. At first we thought it was going to be early August, then mid-August, then late August, and early September, then mid-September, and then just today, now we're talking about late September, early October. That's all we're doing at this point, and until I really see a sign that we're, gonna see this activity rise due to these features, I don't know. Early October we see some signs. This is what it looks like in late August, though, and that didn't happen, so at this point, I gotta be skeptical of almost everything. But you also have to keep your head on the swivel, just in case this season throws any late surprises at us. What about our Canadian model? Not looking at that either. West Pacific, though, you're going to need to watch out very closely the next month or two. Looks like you'll have above average active conditions out there in store, which, to be honest, you really don't need that anymore, do you? In the European model, alright, where has the season gone? Wow, tons of dry air in the Atlantic. That looks no different than it does right now. I mean, let's actually take a look at what it looks like right now. Really? Look at this. Sinking air across the whole Atlantic. We've been seeing this for the past month now. And you're meaning to tell me we could see it for another 2 weeks. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Looks like the West Pacific, though, sounds like a broken record, could be very active. So just polar opposites here. We have active and we have a dead. Yeah, season really delivering the punches, right? Just, oh my goodness. Talk about quite the fail mode. This is the GFS model. It's not what it showed yesterday or the day before. We saw a lot more rising air, even some greens on this model. But we don't see that anymore. Instead, West Pacific, oh gosh, maybe I should just switch to tracking typhoons instead of tracking hurricanes at this point, because, geez, yeah, we're going to need to really watch that out there. I think could definitely be seeing some major activity, over some areas that would favor it at this time of year, and I really hope are getting prepared as we speak. All right. Maybe the next model will deliver the goods. Let's look at our empirical wave propagation model. Well, yes, it is showing your green colors, your rising air, moving into the Atlantic. Well, that's not until the 15th now, or the 20th. I thought before it was more like the 9th or even the 14th. I mean, it just seems like we're kicking this can down the road. I cannot stop saying it. All season, these green colors, we've been seeing those, on the models. We kept saying, big active period upcoming for the Atlantic. Get ready. Nothing happens. We say it again, nothing happens. Say it again, nothing happens. This season, it's just trending towards not much. Could see a few more named storms, but I'm really not seeing much more than that. Maybe we could see this, come into agreement. Maybe we could see this can maybe stop. I don't know. Maybe we could see some development in the Caribbean and the Gulf in October. I do think we could see a system or two, and that's what we're going to watch, but we're not talking about active or hyperactive. No, stop saying that word. We're not seeing that anymore. I would say we're about done with that forecast right now. And well, with that being said, I do hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to smash that like button and even subscribe to my little corner of the weather community. Help share this video with your family and friends, even on social media, as that would help get the word out a lot faster. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all whenever I see you next. I don't know when that's going to be. I do hope that's very soon, though. Have a wonderful afternoon.